true story of free man named Solomon Northrop, who was an African-American citizen that had a wife and 2 children and was a violinist in Saratoga, New York. The key events in the story that were happening to Solomon was that he was kidnapped, sold as a slave, and he tried to escape this tragedy. In the end, 12 years pass and he becomes a free African-American and reunites with his family. The theme of 12 Years a Slave is equally the story about the brutality and dehumanization of African-American slaves, but also shows the resilience and how many African-Americans endured the fact of how they were slaves throughout all of the years.
Well, boy, how you feel now?
My name is Solomon Northrop. I'm a free man, a resident of Saratoga, New York, the residence of my wife and children who are equally free.
In the part 12 Years a Slave, where Solomon is kidnapped and sold into slavery, the principal theme is about brutality of slavery have dehumanized enslaved African Americans. Evidence that supports this theme is in the scene of the book where Solomon had been robbed of his liberty of being free. Solomon tried to declare that he was a free man to the slave trader. The slave trader started to beat Solomon with a paddle, and then the slave trader asked him if he was a free man. Solomon kept getting beat until he said he was a slave. Solomon described the beating like hell. The evidence in the scene of the book, it supports this theme because it shows how Solomon is being dehumanized by the way that slave trader is beating him. You would not beat a human as like that. You would beat an animal like that.
I will not. You will not live to see another day, nigga.
In the part of 12 Years a Slave, where life on Master Ford's plantation, the principal theme is how resilient African Americans were and also endured slavery. Evidence that supports this theme in the book, where it explains that one of Master Ford's workers named Tibbets gave Solomon a task to build a house with some wood and nails. As Tibbet comes back, he has an argument with Solomon about how he puts everything. Solomon does not like Tibbets telling him this, so he talks back to Tibbets. Tibbets does not like that and tells Solomon to strip his clothes so that he would whip him. Solomon denied him and Tibbets goes in to whip him. As Tibbets is about to whip Solomon, Solomon grabs the whip and whips Tibbets. Tibbets crying for mercy so that Solomon wouldn't hurt him. When Solomon lets go of Tibbets, Tibbets tells him that he will regret his actions. The evidence in the scene of the book supports the theme because Tibbets wanted him to be whipped for arguing with him. Solomon denied him and fought back with him, which shows that he fought for what he felt was right.
In the part 12 Years a Slave, where Solomon lived on Master Epps' plantation, the principal theme is about the brutality of slavery and how it dehumanized enslaved African Americans. Evidence that supports this theme in the scene in the book is where Mr. Epps was looking for Patsy. He was unable to find her. When she returned, she said she wanted to get soap due to the fact Mistress Epps wouldn't give Patsy soap to clean herself. Mr. Epps said she was a liar. Mr. Epps was going to beat her but couldn't. There was still part of him that loved her. So Mr. Epps sent Solomon to whip Patsy. Mr. Epps was not pleased by the way Solomon was beating her, so Mr. Epps started to whip Patsy. The evidence in the scene of the book supports this theme because it shows how Patsy was whipped with so much brutalism. She was dehumanized when she got tied down, and you do not do that to humans, you do that to animals.
Lastly, the part in 12 Years a Slave where Solomon attempts to escape slavery shows the theme and resilience and enduring of African Americans. Evidence that supports the theme in the scene of the book where he just tries to escape is when Solomon has to build a house for Master Epps with a guy named Bass. Bass was working for Master Epps on his plantation. As they build the house, Solomon asks him some questions where he lives. Bass tells him about Canada. He is surprised that Solomon has been there. They start to talk more about each other, and that is when Solomon tells him about his life. Bass offers to help him. A few years later, he is out and reunites with his family. The evidence in the scene supports the theme because it shows how Solomon endured all those years being put up as a slave and showed his perseverance to get out of what he was put in.
Overall, 12 Years a Slave deserves a 5-star rating because it shows us our mistakes that we have done in the past and that we should not commit them once again.
Overall, 12 Years a Slave deserves a 5-star rating because it shows a lot of motivation towards the movie, and also it was a great movie to watch. People should watch this movie and read the book if they haven't already because it was a great movie to watch, and also because it shows true life footage of what it was like to be a slave and how they were treated throughout the process, and also shows the brutality and resilience towards African Americans.